Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome for the class. So we're meeting after a very long time. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanaşalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome dear devotees after a very long time. Almost a month, 4 weeks break we've taken and surcharged ourselves with the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And with that mood, we'll try to understand the Bhagavad Gita. So we had completed till chapter 4 and shloka number 10, I think, and we were supposed to start with the next section of the 4th chapter. Yeah, I think it was this only, yeah. So I'll quickly give you all a brief that what we have done till now. So if you see in the 4th chapter, what we had done, we basically we started with comparing Krishna and the living entity. But before that, uh, this transcendental knowledge is all about Krishna. This transcendental knowledge is not about any other person. And Krishna is the absolute truth. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. And he comes to this material world to protect the eternal dharma. And anybody who knows this will be, liberated in this lifetime only. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining what is the origin of the Bhagavad Gita, that this was explained to the sun god Vivaswan. And then the importance of the Bhagavad Gita, we have seen the importance of the Bhagavad Gita being given to sun god. The history of the Bhagavad Gita we have seen. And we had seen also that how Bhagavad Gita is apaurushaya, that is superhuman. We also saw that what is the demonic spirit to approach Bhagavad Gita, that is in the second shloka of the 4th chapter. And what is the importance of Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita? What is the of this edition? What is Arjuna's qualification to understand this Bhagavad Gita? What is the real devotional service to the cause of Bhagavad Gita? And why does Arjuna question about that like he's born as the son of Devki, but he instructed Vivaswan, who is millions of years even older than Krishna. So that question also, and then what is the demonic standpoint about Krishna's position? What do demons think about Krishna? And then Krishna talks about his activities. He talks about the result of understanding this particular transcendental knowledge. And we saw the difference between the supreme person Krishna and the conditioned living entities also. We saw also what is the peculiarity of Krishna's birth, uh, how many incarnations the Lord has, and He's the original. We also saw that what are the qualifications to understand His multiforms, and how the living entity can never be equal to God. We even saw the what is that verse? We even saw the Atma Maya verse, means the Lord will descend through his internal potency and not by his external potency. Atma Maya means also the Lord descends by his causeless mercy, so that we can focus on his, or we can concentrate on his form, and he is not on a mental concoction or imagination. So, and how the Lord incarnates, how the Lord incarnates, when he incarnates, what is the purpose of his descent, uh, what are the facts about his avatars. We saw the definition of a sage or a sadhu, and why does Krishna specifically descend in his own original form. So who is an avatara? We saw that also. And then we saw that how liberation is not very easy if somebody is tied into the material bondage. And then we saw the two paths, the path of the yogis and the path of the devotees, or the path of the impersonalists and the yogis, and the path of devotees who are in Krishna consciousness, who can attain perfection and liberation. And what is the hope, for people like us? And what is the prime problem with people? Because people are too much affected with material things, and that is why they cannot understand the personal nature of the Lord. And how are they differently afflicted with different degrees of raga, bhai, krodha, and what are the different stages of bhakti that we saw in the last section. So now from this section, since we have got a lot of, we got this knowledge about Krishna, then how do you apply this transcendental knowledge? So, actions are transcendental when they're executed in full knowledge that yes, Krishna is the supreme goal of all the paths, and he is the awarder of all the results of work. And by hearing about Krishna, many people in the past became purified, and they attained love for the Lord, and they attained love for Krishna because this was their desire, that was their ardent desire, and Krishna fulfilled that desire, that they want to, love Krishna selflessly, they want to serve Krishna selflessly. And what if someone takes shelter of Krishna with something other than a desire to achieve transcendental love for him? So Krishna will explain now onwards that what is the Lord's reciprocation to such categories of soul, where if somebody wants Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, or he is into some other yogas. So people of different paths are not realizing, different things. They realize different degrees and aspects of Krishna. Ultimately, they have to come to that particular point where they have to take up to Krishna consciousness, and that only will that only will fulfill their heart, that only will give them full contentment, that only will make their heart fully satisfied. Otherwise, any other path is not going to make the soul satisfied. Only when they come to the point of bhakti yoga, only that can make them satisfied. So, with that, we'll just see the 11th shloka onwards. Give me 1 minute, I'll just share the screen with you all. Yeah, so Krishna says that ये यथा मा प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भजाम्यहम् माम वर्तमानो वर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः. Yeah, somebody read this translation. I have not muted anybody, so you can just unmute yourself and read. Yeah, Juhi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanapranam. Everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his life, of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. One, Mataji, can you move it up? One devotee may want Krishna as Supreme Master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna regards all the devotees equally according to the different intensities of love for him. In the material world, the same reciprocations of feeling are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with the different types of worshippers. The pure devotees, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord, and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. As for those who are impersonalists and who want to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them into his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord, having extinguished their individuality. Some of them, who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence, return to this material field to exhibit their dormant desires for activities. They are not admitted into the spiritual planets, but they are again given a chance to act on the material planets. For those who are future workers, the Lord awards the desired results of the prescribed duties as the Yagneshwara, and those who are yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. In other words, everyone is dependent for success upon his mercy alone, and all kinds of spiritual processes are but different degrees of success on the same path. Unless, therefore, one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remain imperfect, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Akam sarva kama va moksha kama udaratihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one is without desire, the condition of the devotees, or is desirous of all future results, or is after liberation, one should with all efforts try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culminating in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So, so from here, another section of Bhagavad Gita is starting, which is Krishna is the goal and he is the creator of all the paths. And of course, the previous acharyas, they have not fixed any sections. It may vary from different frameworks of our own understanding. And here first, Krishna has given this principle of ye yatha mam prapadyante. If you see ye yatha mam prapadyante, then if you see the English synonyms also. So tam tathes bhajamyaham. So Vaishnavas will always quote the very first part, because as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. And Mayavadis will quote the second part, that everyone follows my path in all respects. So the first part over here in the Bhagavad Gita is indicated that the Lord is reciprocal. To the degree, somebody is worshipping, to that degree I'll reciprocate. He's not like, when we say that Krishna is in his Archa Vigraha form, or he's in his, whether it's that the form is metal, whether the form is stone. So he's not like a stone. How he reciprocates? Ye yatha mam prapadyante. So when someone considers Krishna's activities as transcendental, then the Lord makes his activities transcendental, which means he purifies those people. He purifies those who who consider that Krishna's activities are material, then their activities also will remain material only. So the second part is not that by following any path we will reach to Krishna, as it will not match only any other verses of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna also says that yanti deva vrata devan pritri yanti pritravata. So this is another example where Arjuna, Arjuna, example is that Arjuna fight or not fight, it does not matter, as everyone ultimately will go to Krishna. So what is Prabhupada trying to say over here? Prabhupada has asked a simple question that if whatever we do, we have to go back to Krishna, then why has, why has Krishna spoken Bhagavad Gita and given us so many instructions to follow? So, what is the meaning of all people are on my path? It means that whatever that person is attracted to, he is actually attracted to the manifestation of Krishna. Ultimately, anything that is attractive is because of the manifestation of Krishna. Because where there is this example of, uh, uh, in Diwali, you have that, Fuljadi, and that, so just as, you have these sparks coming out from the main stick, similarly, there is sparks from the main fire. So someone asks, then if beauty of opposite sex is also attraction to Krishna, then what is wrong in getting attracted towards it? So uh, the problem is that this attraction does not connect us to Krishna. Rather, it will take us away from Krishna. So this spark, the attraction for sex, it will not take us towards Krishna, and it takes us away from Krishna. So even Mayavadis are also saying everything is, experiencing Brahman. So if a person is drinking alcohol, then he will experience Brahman. So if that is true, then it is not even elevating and purifying different people or different persons, and it is degrading that person, because when somebody is drinking alcohol, he in fact forgets everything. He does not even know that in which position is he lying, whether he's lying on the road, whether he's lying under a tree. Nobody knows that. So some attractions will take us away from Krishna, and some take us towards Krishna. Now, we should know what are those right attractions. In the Krishna book, we recently were reading this Krishna book. So, in this Ras Leela chapter, Srila Prabhupada said that everyone is dancing. Some are dancing in Yog Maya, and some are in Mahamaya. And those who are in Mahamaya are are actually, what is that word? I just forget. Are illumined and are experiencing more miseries. So when Prabhupada is saying over here, akama sarva kamava moksha kama udariti. So whether one is without desire or is desirous of all, fruitive results, or he's after liberation, one should, with all his efforts, he should worship the Supreme Lord if he wants perfection. So more than the spark, what will happen? I will get the whole person, and I will be eternally happy. And that is why this is a question of, an infinite longing, for an infinite person. So now it depends on me whether I want to go on this particular path, which is the eternal path, or I want to go on the temporary path. So with that, let's go to the next. So he's saying that Kankshanta कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवता क्षिप्रहि मनुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. Yeah, somebody read the translation and the purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, you are away from your device, so please come a little closer to your device. Or maybe if you have those earplugs, remove.
Can you hear me now, Mataji?
Yes, this is completely clear. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Translation. Men in this world desire success and fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is a great misconception about the gods or demigods of this material world, and men of less intelligence, although passing as great scholars, take these demigods to be various forms of the Supreme Lord. Actually, the demigods are not different forms of God, but they are gods, different parts and parcels. God is one, and the parts and parcels are many. The Vedas say Nitya Nityananam. God is one, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The Supreme God is one, Krishna, and the demigods are delegated with powers to manage this material world. These demigods are all living entities, Nityana, with different grades of material power. They cannot be equal to the Supreme God, Narayan, Vishnu, or Krishna. Anyone who thinks that God and the demigods are on the same level is called an atheist or Pashandi. Even the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva cannot be compared to the Supreme Lord. In fact, the Lord is worshipped by demigods such as Brahma and Shiva. Shiva Virinchi Nutam. Yet, curiously enough, there are many human leaders who are worshipped by foolish men under the misunderstanding of anthropomorphism or zoomorphism. Iha Devata denotes a powerful man or demigod of this particular world. But Narayan, Vishnu, or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not belong to this world. He is above or transcendental to material creation. Even Sripad Shankaracharya, the leader of the impersonalists, maintains that Narayan or Krishna is beyond this material creation. However, foolish people, Hitagyana, worship the demigods because they want immediate results. They get the results but do not know that results so obtained are temporary and are meant for less intelligent persons. The intelligent person is in Krishna consciousness and he has no need to worship the paltry demigods for some immediate temporary benefit. The demigods of this material world, as well as their worshippers, will vanish with the annihilation of this material world. The boons of the demigods are material and temporary. Both the material worlds and their inhabitants, including the demigods and their worshippers, are bubbles in the cosmic ocean. In this world, however, human society is mad after temporary things such as the material opulence of possessing land, family, and enjoyable paraphernalia. To achieve such temporary things, people worship the demigods or powerful men in human society. If a man gets some ministership in the government by worshipping a political leader, he considers that he has achieved a great boon. All of them are therefore kowtowing to the so-called leaders or big guns in order to achieve temporary boons. And they indeed achieve such things. Such foolish men are not interested in Krishna consciousness for the permanent solution to the hardships of material existence. They are all after sense enjoyment, and to get a little facility for sense enjoyment, they are attracted to worshipping empowered living entities known as demigods. This verse indicates that people are rarely interested in Krishna consciousness. They are mostly interested in material enjoyment, and therefore they worship some powerful living entity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, just give me 1 minute. This guy is jumping here and there. I'm just. Yeah. So, here Krishna is describing if ultimately he is the person who rewards people, then why do not people worship him directly? And why do people get attracted to the demigods? Because they get attracted to the demigods because of the quick results that they get. And demigod worship is like a contract that has to be obliged. So like if a child wants an ice cream or a chocolate, and if he's having money, he can go to a shopkeeper, but the mother knows that that ice cream or the chocolate will spoil the teeth of the child, so she will give him some other sweet which is good for the child, and to give up slowly so that his teeth are not damaged. So many times I have heard in the classes also that if a boy is having 50 rupee note and he wanted a cigarette, so he goes to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper will take the money, give him the cigarette, but the same boy, if he goes to the father for smoking a cigarette, then what the father will do, the father will take the money, slap him, so that the next time he does not want to smoke a cigarette. So here the devatas, they refer to something like uh, uh, some bootlicking of powerful person in this material world. So quick result can go away quickly also, and at the end of life, uh, everything they have to leave it in this world only. But if a particular person takes up to Krishna consciousness, then what will happen is that he will be able to sustain it for a longer time, right? That will be for eternity, that will be there with him, and he will be able to sustain that for a longer time. So that's how demigod worship is. So the that now we need to decide that where we want to go. We want quick results or we want permanent results. Quick results will be there, but they will be temporary, and Krishna consciousness is permanent, and it will be there with you in your next lifetime also. Let's see the 13th shloka. He says that, oh, this is a very important shloka where he speaks about varna ashrama. चतुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागश्च तस्य कर्तारमपि माम विद्य विद्य कर्तारम्यव्यम् अव्ययम्. Yeah, somebody read the translation and the purport both.
Can I, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Purport. The Lord is the creator of everything. Everything is born of Him, everything is sustained by Him, and everything after annihilation rests in Him. He is therefore the creator of the four divisions of social order, beginning with the intelligent class of men, technically called Brahmanas, due to their being situated in the mode of goodness. Next is the administrative class, technically called the Kshatriyas, due to their being situated in the mode of passion. The mercantile men, called the Vaishyas, are situated in the mixed modes of the passion and ignorance. And the Shudras, or laborer class, are situated in the ignorant mode of material nature. In spite of his creating the four divisions of human society, Lord Krishna does not belong to any of these divisions because he is not one of the conditioned soul, a section of whom form human society. Human society is similar to any other animal society, but to elevate men from the animal status, the above mentioned divisions are created by the Lord for the systematic development of Krishna consciousness. The tendency of a particular man toward work is determined by the modes of material nature which he has acquired. Such symptoms of life, according to the different modes of material nature, are described in the 18th chapter of this book. A person in Krishna consciousness however, is the above even the Brahmanas. Although Brahmanas by quality are supposed to know about Brahman, the supreme absolute truth, most of them approach only the impersonal Brahman manifestation of Lord Krishna. But a man who transcends the limited knowledge of a Brahmana and reaches the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, becomes a person in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, a Vaishnava. Krishna consciousness includes knowledge of all different plenary expansions of Krishna, namely Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, etc. And as Krishna is transcendental to this system of the four divisions of human society, a person in Krishna consciousness is also transcendental to all divisions of human society, whether we consider the divisions of community, nation, or species. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, uh, when I say that, Krishna has created a system by which, people can elevate themselves systematically. So sometimes in the West, someone may say that caste system is not there, but these are a class of people present everywhere in the classroom, factories. Also, it is found. It can be found. So when you say Varna Ashrama, it provides a social structure for spiritual advancement. When I say ashram, so ashram means it provides a time-wise progression in one's spiritual commitment. And when I say Varna, then it provides for one's material needs uh, uh, in a very less complicated and a more harmonious way according to one's psychophysical nature. So if a particular person's struggle for spirituality is supported by this particular social structure, then it is easy for for a student, for example, if he wants to become a doctor, but no social structure is available, then it is very difficult to become. He has to do everything by his own, efforts. So today it is very difficult to choose, with many multiple career options that are available. But in the previous times, this varnashram system was there. Varna system, in fact, you can say, was there, and it was very easy for the person to take up his career as they will learn right from the childhood. Like a potter's son will become a potter. Okay, a kshatriya's son will become a kshatriya. But in today's time, a child nature could be something else, but they will select, medicine, engineering, but but their interest, like guna and karma, is something else. Like, I'll tell you my own example. I'll tell you, actually, by nature, I'm more inclined towards teaching profession, because I have seen my mother teaching. I have seen, and I was trained right from the age of 16. When I was in 11th standard, I was teaching children of grade 8 and 9. And somehow or the other, because of the IT boom at that point of time, even I went into, actually, computers, and I also went into that rat race. But my own eternal nature was actually teaching and giving knowledge. And I used to really, to my heart's content, enjoy with those small children, kids, where, very nicely, with creatively, we used to teach children maths, science, and all. So I used to find out some new creative ways also, that, okay, what will I do with this child today? What will I do with that child? In fact, even in my own home, I used to have this science, chemical, reactions, and even basic reaction. Of course, I did not have these hydrochloric acids and concentrated acids as such, but small things like how, lemon, if you put it on turmeric. So that was pratyaksh praman for them. So my inclination was actually into teaching, but then I went into the IT industry, where I was really not happy. But ultimately, when I asked my spiritual master that no, I think this is against my nature. I feel I'm not really very happy doing this, and it's taking a good toll on my health. So my spiritual master said that take a profession where you have less stress, where you can give a less number of hours to material life and more number of hours to spiritual life. And that's where I actually then had to quit my job, and 1 year I did a B.Ed course, and that's how I actually landed up being a teacher. But that was my inherent nature. But because I was doing something else, and my guna or my karma was something else, I was not really very happy. So guna refers to quality, and karma refers to activity. So my inert quality is that, or my strength is that I'm more inclined towards the Brahmanical aspect of teaching. But then I was doing the work of I should not say Shudra, but I was doing something else which is against my nature. So Krishna is the one who has made this system, but he is not the doer, which means that he has not put people as Brahman or Shudra. It is based on their karma. Krishna is not partial, but Krishna is reciprocal. So sometimes, even a school moves all the good students in one section. I remember we all, those who were intelligent, my school had put us into A grade. And those who are not intelligent, they had put all the students in B grade. So the school wide moves all the good students in one section, particularly in the higher class, and low performing students in one section. Also they provide better facilities to the section where all the good students are, and so the school is not responsible for putting all the good students in one section. School has just created a rule, and based on the students performance, they are actually following in these sections. So I remember in my school also, we when I was teaching, of course, when I was in my own school, we had only two sections, A section and B section. But when I was teaching, there were sections till like the F grade also. So all those children who have consistently failed, those students were put in the F grade. And then what they used to do is they used to give me that section. Okay, go and handle. Because I was a new teacher, they wanted to see whether I'll be able to tackle these people. And then eventually, when we worked upon those children and we, try to understand their grievances or try to understand their psychophysical nature and all, we were able to deal with them even psychologically also and physiologically also. And slowly and gradually, then from the F section, they were, upgraded to the E section, to the D section, and then, to the A section. And that's how, new teachers were given these challenges so that, slowly and gradually the children upgrade themselves. So even like similarly, if you see the judge is giving judgment based on the rules, right? Whether a person gets the punishment or not is based on whatever karmas he is doing. It is not based on what the judge is judging him. I have done something wrong, so I'll be getting that particular punishment. So this particular Varna ashram system, what even Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the purpose is to assist everyone in elevating everyone from this material consciousness to actually Krishna consciousness. Although the Varnashram system was created by Krishna, but it is not he who has placed the jivas within this particular system. So even in the previous text 11, we saw that when he's saying that ye yatha mam prapadyante. So Krishna is not saying that, okay, I'm I'm an impartial super soul. No. If Krishna is an impartial super soul, then reciprocates with the desire of the living entities. He also remains the non-doer. and he's not directly, does not directly reward anyone for the fruits of their work. So Krishna himself is always transcendental to the Varna, though he has created the Varnashram system, but he's always transcendental to the Varnashram system, despite the fact that while he was in this world, he followed the prescribed duties of Varna and Ashrama, and even while acting as though he's, under Varnashram system, he actually does not act within it. So Krishna is also the non-doer and the non-actor in this, in relationship to this Varnashram system. So he's already transcendental, and therefore is not elevated by following the system. Why? Because Krishna is completely he's on the top level. So then why he has to follow this? But still he's following to set an example. And of course, Krishna is not changeable. Krishna is unchangeable. And Prabhupada also is saying that in spite of in spite of his creating the 4 Varna ashram system in this human society, Krishna, if you ask, he does not belong to any of these divisions. He does not belong to any Varna also, and he does not belong to any ashram also. And he is beyond the Varna ashram system. So logically, if I were to, award somebody the fruits of work, then I must be transformed, at least on some level, because I have reacted to what somebody has done. So Krishna says that I am not the doer, or he's the non-doer, and he's unchangeable, to show that he is the absolute truth and he is aloof from everything. So although Krishna is the creator of this Varnashram system, he awards neither the results nor the reactions, and he's neither even contaminated nor transformed by this Varnashram system. So this is something somebody might think that, oh, this is so inconceivable. Krishna is the supreme personality of God, that he is the supreme controller and the cause of all causes, and yet he will not accept responsibility for everything that happens to the jivas. But we each must take responsibility to what happens to us. Even though everything ultimately depends on Krishna, and Krishna is sanctioning, against his own desires, and because we are rebellious, and because because of our own rebellious activities and our own results, and then that is why we have to actually suffer for our own activities. So Krishna is no doubt that he is the cause of all causes. Nothing happens without his action, and just to rectify our own acts, he allows us to act as we like. So, and also in the meantime, he is waiting the time that we will return to him and offer our loving service to him. So the material nature that is, there, it is awarding us, the material nature is awarding to those who do not turn to him the pious and impious fruits of their activities. But the moment a devotee turns towards Krishna, then the Paramatma role, because the Supreme Lord is, he only sanctioning, right? Krishna only sanctions against his own desires, wayward and rebellious activities and their subsequent results, because those activities are products of the expression of our free will. So Krishna, when we become a devotee and we start practicing Krishna consciousness, the role of the Paramatma gets over, and Krishna, the role of the Bhagavan, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So then the role of the Bhagavan comes in for, and Bhagavan actually takes over our life, and he is the controller of our life now. And in this verse, Krishna explains that he is the non-doer, akarta. And Krishna previously also had explained that, okay, in the third chapter, if you see, where he had said that prakriti kriya manani guna karmani sarvashah ahankari odum atma kartamiti manyate. So he's saying that the soul is bewildered by the influence of false ego, and he's thinking himself that I am the doer of all the activities. Actually, those activities are carried out by the three modes of material nature. So when we think of ourselves as the cause of the results of our activities, Krishna said that that we are bewildered, and now Krishna tells us that not only we are not the doer, but he is also not the doer either. Then somebody might ask him that who is doing everything? So Krishna actually sometimes takes one side of the issue and sometimes the other. And at times he wants to emphasize our position that we are tiny souls. We should not be falsely proud of our powers, or think ourselves that we are rightfully attached to the fruit of our activities. And at times he's emphasizing that we are not the doer, that we do not cause the fruits of our activities and the results of our activities either. And these all are awarded by whom? These all are awarded by the material nature. So at times he is emphasizing our culpability. He then wants us to take full responsibility for our actions and their actions also. And at times Krishna is stressing himself also that he is a karta, he is not the doer. And the material nature and the living entities, he's saying that they are all the doers. So the living entity is desiring to act, but Krishna as the super soul then sanctions it, and the material nature also facilitates that activity. So yet still, the weight of that responsibility for that action, it is resting completely upon the living entity. Though the living entity has no independent power to act, he initiates actions by his desires. So the moment I'm desiring, I actually initiate an action also. So, well, both the super soul and the material energy are neutral. They only facilitate the fulfillment. So this is actually, in this particular shloka, he's speaking about varnashram and how this varnashram system slowly and gradually will elevate a particular person. And Krishna is creating this varnashram so that we can purify ourselves slowly and gradually by regulating our desires. And this varnashram system is only the process of purification for one who has material desires. And so from material desires, then he comes to a point where he has spiritual desires. So and so varnashram system, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that it has been created to go from an animal status to a human status. Animal means what? Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Okay, so this is when this system is created, then systematically we develop Krishna consciousness also. And Prabhupada is also stressing on how that a Vaishnava is even higher than a Brahmana. So Brahmana by quality is supposed to know about Brahman, the absolute truth. But most of them, approach the only impersonal Brahman, that light or Tej, whatever we call it. And one who's transcending this, limited knowledge, and he reaches to the knowledge of the Supreme, then he is called a Vaishnava. And then Krishna conscious includes knowledge of all different planetary expansions also, like the Lord in Narsimha Avatar, or the Lord in Kalki Avatar or Ram Avatar. And Krishna and one who is in Krishna conscious, both are transcendental to the divisions of the society, Varna and Ashrama. If somebody is into Krishna consciousness, then he transcends this Varna and Ashram system also, because the inherent quality of the soul is to serve Krishna. The original constitutional position of the soul is Jivera Swarupoy Nityera Krishna Das, and that's how he transcends. But just as Krishna in the material world, when he comes, he acts as if he's under the Varna and Ashram system. Devotees equally act that they are under the Varna and Ashram system to set an example for the others. And living in this world, they try to balance the spiritual world also and the material world also, the spiritual life also and the material life also. So that's also. Now in the next verse, Krishna will further explain that how he is again the non-doer, or how he acts but does not act, and the value of thoroughly understanding these, if you understand these subtle truths, what will you gain by this? So because see, since Krishna is free from all fruitive attachments, he has no personal interest in the varnashram dharma, and he creates this only to help the living entities so that they can fulfill their desires, and they can get eventually purified. So Krishna is not responsible for our position in varnashram, and he's not even responsible for the right and wrong activities also that we do. So sometimes people say na, मैंने क्या गुनाह किया था कि आप मेरे साथ ऐसा किया. You remember people say like this, कि what have I done that you are doing? They go and curse the Lord, कि मैंने ऐसे क्या किया है कि मेरे साथ ही ऐसा हुआ है. मैं तो सबके साथ अच्छा बर्ताव करता हूँ. I am the good with everybody. I am very nice to everybody. And so Krishna is not responsible for our wrong and right activities. It is our own desires, it is our own inclination to those activities that we ourselves are responsible. So that is why we should teach people that don't curse God for your own activities. You have done something in the past, you are suffering for that, because many a times we have seen people, like of course, right from my childhood, I knew that, because my mother used to always say that whatever good we are doing, we are responsible, and whatever bad we are doing, we are responsible by our own selves. So she used to say that never blame God for whatever wrong you are doing. You yourself are equally responsible. Of course, she has read the Bhagavad Gita and she's telling from that time only. So from that Bhagavad Gita knowledge only. But many times, we used to think that why, this person is such a nice person and so nice, and this person became bankrupt, or somebody, just, did something bad to this person. What exactly happened? But that person has done something bad in his past life with that person who has done bad in this lifetime. So, if I cut a goat, okay, in the next lifetime, I will be like a goat, and somebody else will be cutting me. Because action and reaction, where you have an action, you will get a reaction definitely for that. So that is why whenever something is happening, something bad happens to our life, we should never curse the Lord. We should never blame the Lord that, oh, because you're standing over there. Like, even if you see in Bollywood and all, what is happening? The hero, goes and, rings that bell and he's cursing the Lord. And then, there is some song going on and all. And that is why that trend started, previously, you see, people used to never curse the Lord. But only after this Bollywood things became so prominent that, cursing the Lord became like, this for a secondary habit of everybody, that, oh, something went wrong, God is responsible. Something went wrong, God. So we should try to see that we should never blame the Lord for our own misdeeds. Okay, let's go to the next shloka. न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मा फले स्पृहा इति मां यो भजन् इति मां यो भिजानाति कर्माभिर्न सबध्यते. Yeah, Sushil Prabhu, please read the translation and purport both. Everybody sleeping? No, no. Okay, Atima, read. Translation and purport both.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mute mode, Mataji.
But I never put anybody on mute.
Maybe I have by mistake.
Yeah, in the English class, I generally don't put anybody on mute. If you see even the Bhagavatam reading class, that I never put. Only in the Hindi class, I put people on mute, and then I myself unmute them. Because sometimes Hindi people, no, they don't have too much knowledge about this device. So sometimes by mistake, their hand moves on the unmute and their conversations are heard, and that is why I put them on mute. Okay, read Prabhu.
Translation: there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Purport: as there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws. Similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material nature, resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appears on the earth. Although without such rain, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows: Nimitta matram evasho shyanam sarga karmani pradhana karani bhuta yoto vai shijya shaktayaha. In the material creation, the Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of modes of in the Vedanta Sutra 2.1.34, it is confirmed Vashamya Naragrinena Shapak Satvat. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands that this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive result, as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, when we do some work, there is some result also, outward result also there, and there is an inward also emotion, like we feel very happy or excited, or we feel very joyous, or we feel very sorrow about it. So we seek something outside, and it affects our inside also. So Krishna is saying that he does not have any effect like that. He does not desire any result, as he is complete. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam. Okay. And even in the previous verse, Krishna has explained that he is not the doer. How? Because he is not affected internally, nor he seeks any result externally. So since Krishna is complete, he does not desire anything and nothing affects him. Krishna is transcendental, who understands this, that such a person is not bound by karma. So once we understand Krishna's transcendental position, then we also become transcendental by gaining that knowledge. So when you say transcendental understanding, it is not theoretical. It is an understanding based on transformation, how you get transformation. So sometimes somebody might just question that when Krishna is not motivated by any desire, why does Krishna act? Then the answer is that he acts out of love. Now we may ask that, is love not, karma phale spriha? So no, because when we want something material, as a result, that is karma phale spriya. But Krishna does not want any material result, and that is why it is itimam yo bhajanti. I was trying to resolve. I'm saying karma bhir na sabadhyate, where he's saying that. He's saying that when one understands this, he will not be bounded. So knowledge of the Lord or Krishna is extraordinary, because devotees are not interested in this battle of battle, or so many other historical battles that have happened. So we don't want those battles, but we are interested in the battle of Kurukshetra. Why? Because Krishna is there. Because that battle is connected with Krishna, and Krishna is not an ordinary person. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is a transcendental person, and being a transcendental person, he can make us also transcendental. So when we come to know Krishna, we become purified and then return back home, back to him. So there are two different things actually. Okay, to know Krishna and to know about Krishna. These are two different things. Like, so to know Krishna is like, okay, when we distribute books and all, I know Krishna. मुझे कृष्णा पता है, ठीक है ना, but to know about Krishna, like even in a Gujaratis, when we tell him, oh Krishna, Krishna, and all that, Krishna, though we know, he's his neighbor, like we know about Krishna, like so, like an example, a child, he comes to a doctor, and a doctor is examining the child, and after this, does the doctor know the child? No, he does. The doctor knows about the child. He does not know the child. To know the child, the doctor needs to have a personal relationship with the child. As a child's parent, the child's parent has a very personal relation. So the mother may not be knowing the technical parameter, like what is the the white blood corpuscle count or the red blood corpuscle count, but she knows the child as she has a personal relationship of love with the child. So either a person knows about God or know God. So but having a you can say a clinical approach, a person knows about the God, like God appeared, Krishna appeared in this world, Krishna did this and Krishna did that. We don't need just theoretical knowledge, but we need a transformational knowledge. A theoretical knowledge just stays in the head, and a a, a transformational knowledge will change the direction of our love. We come to know Krishna and not just about Krishna. So when we know Krishna, we become purified, and then we redirect our love to Krishna, and then we return back to Krishna. So iti mam yo bhajanti karmabir na sabadhyate. So such a person who's understanding that Krishna is not materially motivated, is not bound by karma. And that is why if you see, Prabhupada is using nimitta matram eva so. So he's so so in this he's saying that like if you see, there are three places. At one place there is a lot of rain is happening and it is flooded. Okay. At another, a good amount of rain, and at the last one there is no rain, like there is, you can say, sukha or drought. So is the Lord responsible for all these? No, he is not directly responsible. Directly responsible is the karma of the people who are suffering. Lord is overall responsible, means he has made the law of nature, and that way he is responsible. Like a judge is not responsible for the, you can say, the when he is punishing, he is not responsible for the punishment of the criminal. It is actually that criminal's action which are responsible, right? So there are two places with proper rains, and in one place the crops are growing, and in another place only weeds are growing, unwanted, jungly grass is growing. So why? Because seeds are sown accordingly. So if I am sowing a seed of rice, so I will get a rice crop. But if I am not sowing anything and I am sowing something jungly, then I will actually, reap something different. So, like even if you see, like so because these laws of karma are very intricate to understand, and I'm sorry, I have just by hearted these examples so that whenever anything this conversation comes up or some debate like this comes up, then these examples are pretty much handy for me to explain people. Because when we go on book distribution also, people ask us, okay, then why this karma, why if you're saying that Krishna is the not the doer, then why are we suffering, and why all this suffering? So if, for example, another example is of twins. One of the twin grows in a very cultured way, and other is in an uncultured way. Now, why is that difference when parents have shown the same love and care for both of them? Because they both have different inclinations coming from previous lives. So the Lord is not responsible, as Prabhupada is also saying here, we are responsible for our own previous deeds. Right? So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he's saying that, like if you see in this, he's saying that the Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. And Lord is only reciprocal. The Lord only gives facilities through the agency of the Mother. So Lord is reciprocal. So when there is a debate where is Krishna partial or impartial? So for a force or a principle, neutrality is the ideal, and for a person, reciprocal is the activity. So when so for like when I say for a force or a principle, neutrality is the ideal. So and in the case of the principle of gravity, whatever is dropped, it will fall, right? Whether it is material or a person, this is neutrality. And whereas for a drop of material desire, there is no loss as in comparison to human body, say a baby, but it is neutral, right? The baby does not know anything much. So but in the case of person, neutrality is not there. For example, if there is a person and someone comes and praises him, and he's like a stone faced, and someone comes and chastises him, still the same expression, for such a kind of person, is it okay that we will reciprocate with him in one way, but it will be very difficult to make a relationship with such a kind of a person? So Krishna is not like that. It is the continuation of like whatever, it's a reciprocal. Like when we say that, when Krishna says ye yatha mam prapadyante, Krishna is reciprocal, and that is not being partial. This will, we'll see it further, that in the 9th chapter also we'll see that, where Krishna says that samoham sarvabhuteshu, like being reciprocal is not partiality, but it is it is the personality. If a person is not reciprocal, then the personality does not have much meaning at all. So whatever one will sow, he will get. Krishna will not get personally involved. He does not have favorites. And Krishna is above the law of karma, and he does not interfere with the laws of karma. That is actually what is being said in this shloka. Okay, let's go to the next. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little more time with this chapter, because we have seen the 3rd chapter as karma yoga, but there are so many things जो हमारे दिमाग में भी पनप रहे हैं कि why Krishna is partial, why Krishna is doing this, why only he is favoring to the devotees, why he is not favoring to the non-devotees. Sometimes even in the Janmashtami line, there people argue that why, if Krishna के लिए तो सभी लोग समान है, फिर ये लोग ने 1 लाख डोनेशन दिया तो उनको शॉर्टकट से क्यों लेके जा रहे हैं, and we who have not given a single penny. Or some people say that, oh, even we have given 5,000 rupees as a donation, then why are we made to stand in this line? And there are different, levels of lines also they have made of VIP, quick. Or even if you see in Tirupati Balaji also, there are somebody's paying and he gets, quick, entry into the darshan room of the Lord. So people compare that why these why these partialities are being made. When Lord is not partial, why are you all partial? So when such things comes up, then we are able to answer them in a more better way, not to even hurt their sentiments, because for us, every person will be very important, whether he's coming for the first time to the temple, whether he is coming or whether he has laid down his life for Krishna. For us, everybody will be equal, because ultimately all are sons and daughters of the Supreme Lord. So, but because that particular, what do you say, VIP, we call them VIPs, right? So he has his time also. His time is also money for him, and he has given his money. He's given his time also, and that is why and he has a lot many other things, like, so for example, we have ministers or we have actresses coming to our temple and visiting on Janmashtami day. So their time is a little more important. But people might argue, हमारा time important नहीं है क्या? हम लोग क्या वेले बैठे हैं क्या? So, for example, if somebody is taking a holiday for one day, at the most, how much will the company cut his pay package? If somebody is on an unpaid leave, okay, maximum 200, 300, 400, right? But if an actor comes, or if a minister is coming and he's giving that time, which means in that particular time he could have done something more productive for the society, but because he's giving his time, and when we say no, whatever a great man does, common man follows. So that's why then these people are given some VIP entries and all. Like, okay, I'm sorry, because we are running out of time, and we'll come. Okay, so then the next he says that एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मेव तस्मात् तत्त्व पूर्वैर्पूर्वतरं कृतम्. Yeah, Atima, please read the translation and purport both.
All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty, following in their footsteps. Purport. There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neurophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof making a show of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivasan, as mentioned herein before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities, as well as those of persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the act of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Krishna is saying that this is a time-tested process. Like the doctor says that so many people have benefited, you also take up and you will also be benefited. So Krishna consciousness is, neither an old process nor a new process. It is an eternal process. And also it is going in the history for a long process. So Krishna is talking about karma yoga, which will culminate in bhakti yoga. So when I'm saying that this particular process is the eternal process, so for us devotees, our sadhana and the sadhya are the same. I always give this example because this example has very much, touched my heart. So I give
Mataji, sadhana and
sadhana and sadhya. The way, the goal and the means are the same. So what is our sadhana? Our sadhana is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And the goal in the spiritual world is also what? There also we are doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So for us, whether I'm in the material world or whether I'm in the spiritual world, I'm doing the same activities. Right? So that is why Srila Prabhupada also is saying in the pulpit that foolish people, those who are there, they also actually, foolish persons or neophytes in Krishna conscious often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna's desire also to actually retire from activities is not approved, and one only needs to know how to act. So Krishna is saying that there is a way to act by which one can be free from this bondage. It is not that just by doing action one will be bonded, and just by inaction some will be free from bondage. It is not. It is not. That work that is binding. It is the motivation, and it is, this work is binding for me. No, that is why in the Bhagavatam also, there is a verse which has been said, which says that if a person takes too much milk, he will get loose motions or a digestive disorder. But that same milk, if someone will take in the form of a curd, he will be cured from that disorder, that digestive disorder. So, same milk which is transformed into curd can cure the disease. Similarly, whatever work for fruitive result will cause a bondage. But work done with detachment in devotional service will make me free from bondage. So simply one knows how to work, one is free from that bondage. So karma yoga culminates into bhakti yoga. I am working for Krishna. I am working for the satisfaction of Krishna. I am working for satisfying the senses of Krishna. And that's how this karma yoga only then, it culminates into bhakti yoga. So, okay. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo apyatra mohitam tatte karma pravakshyami yagnatva mokshase ashubhatah. Yeah. Krishna Krupa Mataji, please read if you're there.
Yes, ma'am. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Purport. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized person who are in a line of disciplic succession. As explained in the beginning of this chapter, the system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshwaku. and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the standard a- for this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Bhagavatam 6.3.19. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahalada, Bhishma, Shukadev Goswami, Yamaraja, Janaka, and Bali Maharaja. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So he's saying that even if you see in the 9th chapter also, he says that you will become free from inauspiciousness. The very first shloka of the 9th chapter says that. And even at the end of Mahabharat war, Yudhishthir was lamenting that, oh, so many people were killed because of me. And everyone was, consoling Yudhishthir Maharaj that that time Rishi Muni said that if just by going to forest, karma phala is destroyed, then all the animals living in the forest would have been liberated. So Bhima said, at the end, now you are fighting the war within your mind and you're losing it. And when Yudhishthir Maharaj heard it, he started countering it. It went on and it went on and on, and no conclusion is made. So lastly, everyone went to Bhishma Pitama. And in the 13th chapter, we saw of the Bhagavatam, first canto, we saw that when everybody went to Bhishma Pitama, who initially taught, the various teachings to them, but at the end, he said the most important thing is that Lord wanted this battle to happen, and you were a part of it. So this was the Lord's mission, and you have assisted in the Lord's mission. And now the Lord wants you to become the king. So try to be the part of the Lord's plan. And see, it is very difficult to understand the Lord's plan. But if we act according to the Lord's plan, then, there will be all auspiciousness. And then Bhishma Pitama, he said that, even I too had a very difficult service to fight against the Lord. Imagine, he is my Prananath, he is my Ishtadev, and I have to fight in front of him. Who wanted to do that? But I did that. And see what is the result. This is the mercy of Krishna, that when I'm about to leave my body, Lord Krishna himself has come to give me darshan. So the point is that even the wise people get bewildered. Like, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Dharmaraj, he is the personification of Dharma. He is getting bewildered. And then even if Yudhishthir Maharaj can get bewildered, then what are we like? So kim karma, kim akarmeti. What is karma and what is akarma? So even Yudhishthir Maharaj got bewildered. So yeah, it is bewildering. The laws of karma are very bewildering, but we should understand that it is the Lord's plan. Okay. Okay, this is also another nice shloka where he says that कर्मणो हि अपि बोधव्यं च विकर्मण अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यं गहना कर्मणो गति.
Can I have Mataji?
Yes, Rajmalu Prabhu.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what is inaction is. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinctions between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted actions because it is very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. That is, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed toward this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this conclusion, consciousness and its attendant actions are vikramas or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent persons will be bewildered. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So, if you see, we can know from the scriptures. Uh, but the scriptures also say many things. So now Krishna said that, see, I will tell you what is karma, vikarma, and akarma. So the working of, the karma is so very, intricate or complex. So he says that karma is the action which brings good result. Vikarma is action which is against the scriptures, which brings bad action. And akarma is not inaction. It is action which brings no reaction. So when we actually, when we are in Krishna consciousness and when we act in a particular way which will not bring us any reaction. So understanding these intricacies is very difficult, but understand that certain actions bring reaction, some bring bad action, and some bring no material reactions at all. So, if you see that these working of the karmas also, no, it can be a little, what do you say? What is that word? I just forget. It can be a little, what do you say? Comprehensive also. It can be a little intricate also. But if we understand it, we will know that how to act in Krishna consciousness and how not to act, for getting the reactions of our work. And what is karma meant for? Karma is meant for actually to empower ourselves, to nourish ourselves. So the Bhagavad Gita that is stating that workings of karma can be incomprehensible. It speaks about, our experience, because we all are sometimes faced with many adversities that, I think that what did I, do in the past that I deserve so much of trouble. So even Arjuna, who is the first student of Bhagavad Gita, he is also facing a similar this, that though I have been a virtuous warrior all my life, and I'm facing so much anguish, and in such a situation that I have to fight with against my own relatives, including all my vulnerable elders. So, uh, so the Gita does not go into any past life stories about what, Arjuna had done in the past, or what his opponents had done, and how all those actions, had led them to be, present on that particular battlefield to fight. No, instead, Gita is using Arjuna's perplexity as a launching, device, or launching this for discussing, universal questions about, human beings, their identity and their purpose. So it is explaining, all the parts of Krishna, or all the loving divine parts of Krishna, where Krishna is meant to, lovingly harmonize with his benevolence, or even whatever great good work he is doing, and if he is in progressing towards the highest good beyond this world. So we presently have our own conceptions about our identity and our purpose, and uh, some conceptions, misalign to some different degrees also with our core identity and the supreme person also, or the supreme purpose also. The supreme purpose is what? To love Krishna, to come to that point that I want to love Krishna, I want to serve Krishna. Now when you're aligning our, driving conceptions with this reality, it's the, that is the ultimate purpose of our existence, and end of everything in existence, including this principle of karma also. So when we understand this purpose, that our approach to all these adverse changes, we focus on forward and we don't focus on backward. We refuse to get caught in that, post-mortem mode. And when we can't figure out what are the causes of my current actions, or why am I suffering currently. So, and that is why what we do is, in shifting our focus, we get the primary point of karma. It is not retribution, but it is, I have to reform. It is reformation. And so the purpose of karma is, to reform us. Reformation means what? That I have done something wrong in my past. So I am being put into this material jail, a material world, which is like a jail. And when I'm transforming myself, so in such transformation, I'm driving the conceptions that are being raised from, the previous confusions before I have heard the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm being convinced that yes, I am supposed to serve the Supreme Lord. I am supposed to act for the Supreme Lord after hearing the Bhagavad Gita. So, the purpose of karma is not retribution, but it is reformation. And when I'm facing adversities, I do not ask, what did I do to deserve this situation? I will ask what I can learn from the situation about my identity and purpose. So we learn from different people's life, right? We learn from the life of Maharaj Bharat. We learn from the life of Maharaj Dhruv, Prahlad, from Gajendra. We are learning, right? Because these people also had faced adversities, right? And they reformed themselves. So whenever such a situation comes, we learn. So recently, one of my friends, she was discussing with me, and she was crying. I think that was 14th August or something. she was crying very heavily. Her husband must have invested something, and of course, she's a Karmi friend of mine. She's not a devotee friend, but she's yet to become a devotee, you can say. So her husband had invested in some cryptocurrency, and he plays on a daily basis. So he generally he used to win, but on that particular day, whatever he had earned, he lost on that day. So then, when she was narrating this to me, her grievances, whatever they're there, like her husband lost, some very big, heavy amount, and they're completely. Of course, she wasn't asking help from me, but she was just trying to, pour out that grief and make her heart light. So she was telling me. So what when after speaking to her, I was contemplating that it is so dangerous, that it is better to earn hard-earned money rather than going for any shortcut money. You can do long-term investments, that you invest in a particular share, and then you allow it to compound, and all that you can do. And but then playing on a daily basis, then it is very risky, in the sense that every time on a daily basis, if somebody is doing some trading, then he's under utter stress. Okay, what will happen now? What will happen now on closing? What will happen now on closing? What will happen if I invest, and if I don't get that commission or return or whatever it is like? So I learned that for us, this life is also a gamble only. On a daily basis, I am gambling with my life, and on a daily basis, what investments am I doing in my life? On a daily basis, am I investing in sense gratification, or am I investing in serving the Supreme Lord? And if I'm investing in sense gratification, I'm going into a minus. Okay, I'm going into negative pointing. And if I'm going into doing Krishna conscious activity, then it is a permanent bank account, where that bank account does not decrease. It multiplies, it gets added, but it does not get decreased. So this is what I learned from that particular incident of hers, that here in the material world, people want their so-called temporary bank balances to increase. But here are Krishna conscious devotees, they are interested in serving the Supreme Lord, and they're accumulating their spiritual bank balances. So very intricate, the laws of karma. Let's go to the next shloka. So then he says that karmanyam karmanya karma ya pashyed karmani cha karma yah sa buddhiman manishyeshu asayukta kritsana karma krita. So this is also very important shloka. Somebody read this. Rup Manohar Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I had some problem, ma'am. Mataji, I couldn't read today.
Okay. Jui Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A person acting in Krishna consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna. Therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society, even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities without reaction to work. The impersonalist sees future activities out of fear. Certain action may not be a stumbling block on the path of self-realization, but the person does know rightly his position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme.
Mataji, your voice just got lost.
Sorry, Mataji. Therefore, is it better?
Yeah.
Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of this service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, one who sees action in, one who sees inaction in action, and one who sees action in inaction, such a person is what? Such a person is buddhiman, and who is well situated. So, if we see, it is actually a tongue twister and a brain twister also. Karma can have four meanings. One is action, one is reaction, one is the system of action, that is the reaction. Okay. And one type of action, you can say, that is the pious actions. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Pious actions. I've put it on the chat if somebody wants it. So, karma can have four meanings. And similarly, karma also can have two meanings. One is inaction, and the second is action that produces no reaction. Okay. So then when we produce action on our behalf, that produces reaction. But when we do action on Krishna's behalf, that produces no reaction. Like, for example, a soldier, he kills the enemy on the war, on the border. So the soldier will not be punished. But if he's killing somebody on the border, he's rewarded. But if that same soldier kills somebody in his neighborhood, he will definitely be arrested and he will be punished. So there are certain actions which we do on behalf of the Lord, then there is no reaction. But if we do on our behalf, then we do get bound. Any action that we do on behalf of Krishna, then you have no reaction. But any action that we do on our own behalf, then we are bound for that. So that is why he says that akarma, no reaction. Karmani akarma yah pashyeda. Akarma, then no reaction. So, so if you see in external activity, then no karmic reaction. So, Arjuna's fighting leads to no karmic reaction. Because why? He is fighting on behalf of Krishna. It is Krishna's plan and it is Krishna's desire that this war happen, right? So even if you see an example in Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada, though he is a sannyasi, he went to the West. And in general, sannyasis are restricted to go to the West, as there is a fear of being, contaminated and, developing material desires and being bound by karma. But Srila Prabhupada said that I'm not going there for any material sense enjoyment. I'm going there for the service of the Lord. I'm going there to give Krishna's message and sharing Krishna's love with them. So going to America, whether he became contaminated, far from that, he went to the contaminated places and turned them into Vaikuntha, and he manifested the spiritual world wherever he went. So just give me 1 minute. There's somebody on the door. I'm sorry. So he manifested the spiritual world wherever he went. So akarmani cha karma yah, akarmani cha karma yah. So akarma, no external activity. So we see in external inactivity that karmic reaction. So your karma means actually reaction. So even when there is no external activity, there can be reaction. So Arjuna, Arjuna's silently meditating and not getting indulged in the prescribed work is leading him to a karmic reaction. So he's thinking that I don't want to fight because by not fighting, I will not incur any sin and I will not incur any reaction also to that particular sin. So, but Krishna has told in the very beginning of this, the third chapter, if you'll remember, that if a person gives up this external world and if he's acting like a mendicant or an announcer, and if he is internally meditating on the sense objects, right, then that person is getting into karmic bondage. So for example, somebody is thinking, I'll renounce and go to the Himalayas, but he's thinking about the opposite sex, or he's thinking about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, then he will go into a karmic bondage. So in that verse also, Krishna is telling that he's talking actually from the moral standard, and here also he's talking from karmic reaction point of view only. So Arjuna is saying that I want to go to the forest and I will not seize him from karmic reaction, and because being a kshatriya, he'll be inclined to do the kshatriya duty. So even for example, if you see a patient is dying and a doctor did not give any medicine, and the doctor says that what did I do? I did not do anything. But here, not doing anything is an offense, and that is called guilt by negligence. The doctor is supposed to give medicine to the dying patient. So and if he's not giving, then definitely he's going to incur some reaction. So even if you see, there are some thieves are plundering, and the police, if he's not doing anything, the police is legally responsible for not catching those thieves. So Arjuna, being a kshatriya, if he will not do his duty, he will be culpable or responsible, or he will be bound, as internally he will be contemplating that, oh, I wish I could have done this, I could have done that, and I would have enjoyed this and I would have enjoyed that. No, so if somebody is renounced but internally he's contemplating on sense objects, that will cause bondage. As a motivation is not truly a renounced motivation, and is not truly even pure. So therefore there will be fruitive activity happening at a mental level also, because whatever you think, it will come out as your actions, and will lead to any physical action also in the future, and that will lead that particular person to bondage. So when Krishna is giving a message that to go beyond the externals, to go beyond that superficial and go deeper or look deeper into and see seriously what is actually happening, and then based on that particular vision we take an action. And then he is saying that such a person is a wise person. So, and then now Krishna will actually describe that how will a karma yogi actually act. So different places he will say different actions happening, but primarily he will say now how does a karmi, how does a yogi behave. Okay, so when he's saying this, we are understanding this karma on the platform of jnana, because acting in pure devotional service is a karma free from reactions. This is because why? Because karmic reaction is a result of all fruitive consciousness and not that activity in itself. So, that is why Krishna is saying you follow the great souls, uh, you know, uh, and that is why he's saying that okay, you do vikarma, and Krishna returns to the distinction between again karma and vikarma, seeing action in action, seeing action in inaction and inaction in action, and then he's saying that every soul is unavoidably active. So if you are artificially saying that I'll be inactive, it will lead to further danger for you. And because if you have unengaged senses coupled with an impure mind, then definitely it is more dangerous. So anyone who attempts spiritual practices while the mind meditates on sense enjoyment, then that person will fall down eventually. Even if such an person is a renunciate, he will be less involved in the world, still he will fall down. So Krishna is going to say that how this particular person, how to act a karma in karma. So like working for transcendence. So now the real thing will start, the real practical application will start from the 19th shloka, that how to, a person or the qualities of a person who's working in a karma or working in transcendence. So I'll give you all something, where you all can easily remember, and it is very, very easy to remember these with an acronym or something. I'll find out where, you all can remember this very easily, that how to work without attachment and detached to sense gratification, and what are the practical applications also. So I will halt over here. I'm sorry that we completed only 8 shlokas. Generally, we try to complete somewhere around 10 or 12 shlokas, but certain explanations and things went into a little more details. And many times things are not in our hands actually. The Lord is in charge of the class and we are not the doers. Krishna is in charge of this class. So yeah, if anybody has any queries, doubts, you all can ask me.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kalyani, yes.
Mataji, means the Varnashram system is for the gradual elevation of a living entity. So if one is born with the quality of Shudra, or let's suppose Vaishya, so then how can he elevate himself to the Brahminical qualities, or like how Prabhupada also said that one needs to act in the mode of goodness. So how Shudra can act in the mode of goodness even though he is dominated by the quality of ignorance, like Tamoguni, he is mostly acting on that platform. So how can we act in goodness if we are born in the quality of Shudra, like if we need to work according to our qualities?
Yeah, so if somebody is actually born with these qualities of a Shudra, he has to have that internal desire, that I want to raise myself to the Brahminical standard. So then he has to do those actions of Brahmanas also. So if suppose a particular Shudra, he's born with that qualities of Shudra mentality, and he wants to become a Kshatriya, then he has to train himself in that way. He has to go to the war front, he has to take training, he has to take rigorous training, and that's how he becomes a warrior. Like I forgot to mention one point, because when Juhi Mataji was reading, it just struck me that even Srila Prabhupada said that if Prabhupada wanted, Prabhupada could have sat in that room of Sri Radha Damodar and he could have meditated, and he alone could have gone back home, back to Godhead. But the very fact that Prabhupada was active even at the age of 70, and he went to the West to preach the Krishna conscious movement, right? So he did not say that, okay, let me be inactive and I am what can I do? I'm a very old man, I'm helpless, and nothing can be done. Warning ke bolte na ki बैठ गए. Like, no, but he got up, and Prabhupada always used to say that for me, I want to die like a warrior on the battlefield. So every one of us is in a battle with Maya. Okay, so Maya has her own agents. These agents keep on creeping up again and again in the form of pubs and parties and mobiles and media and so many other things. Maya will keep on attacking. And that is why Prabhupada said that it is better for me to die like a warrior rather than die on this bed, and take rest and be inactive. So even when he was ill, he was translating. Even he was not feeling well, he was, active and doing some management things. So he wanted to die like a warrior. Of course, Prabhupada is a Shuddha, the Shuddha Sattva level. He's not in the mode of goodness also, passion also, and ignorance also. He's completely on a transcendental platform. And still Prabhupada is saying that sometimes, the Uttam Adhikari has to come down to a Madhyam Adhikari level, and he has to talk so that the Madhyam Adhikari level and the Kanishta Adhikari level people understand what is the mood and how people should act in that particular mood to fulfill the mission of the Supreme Lord. And so fighting on the battlefield is a Kshatriya activity. But Srila Prabhupada is on the Shuddha Sattva level. He's not bound by this Varna Ashram system, right? So even if I'm having Shudra qualities or inclinations, or if my inert nature is a Shudra, but if I desire that I want to go to the highest level, then I act accordingly. I take training. Like for example, I say that I'm born in a Vaishnava family right from my childhood. So Vaishnava means actually in Gujaratis they have a caste that okay, Vaishnava Vanya. Vanya means business class. But we used to call ourselves as Vaishnavas, but our qualities were not that. We were eating, sleeping only and defending. But then when we came to Krishna consciousness, and our natural inclination was doing business and doing other activities of sense gratification and all, when we came to ISKCON, we took training. We attended training sessions, and we cultivate, and with those training sessions we started applying them in our lives, and that's how we came up to a Brahmanical standard where Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says that Brahmanas are supposed to be in the what do you say, in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He says this. Give me 1 minute, I'll just show you all the qualities of a Brahmana. He says Sama, Dama, Tapa, Socham. 18.42 he says that. So these are the qualities of a Brahmana. Samodamastapa Socham Shantir Arjavam Evacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikya Brahma Karma Bhavajanam So according to our swabhava, born of his own nature. Now these natures can be born also. We can give rise to these natures also. So when I'm saying that having peacefulness, self-control, austerity, so aren't we doing austerity every day morning, getting up at 4 o'clock? Aren't we purifying our thoughts? Are we purifying ourselves internally and externally also? Aren't we tolerating the natures of different people in the temple and at home and in the office also? Aren't we honest? Aren't we, the very fact that we are studying Bhakti Shastri, so we're trying to gain knowledge. And by knowledge will come wisdom. And from wisdom will come religiousness. So these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas will work. But for that, a training is required. A rigorous training program where on a daily basis we are consistent on developing these qualities. And then this will become our second nature. That, okay, let me be peaceful. Somebody said something to me. Let me be very peaceful. I don't want to retaliate. Okay, let me have self-control over, eating outside food versus eating Krishna Prasad. Surfing on the net versus chanting, or going on Facebook and Twitter, and rather than, reading Bhagavad Gita. And austerity, waking up early in the morning or staying awake at night till 12 o'clock. And purity in our thoughts also, tolerance also. So all these things, what we do, we try to genuinely, gradually develop, slowly and gradually we try to develop. Even if I'm born in a Shudra family, even if I have that Shudra qualities, but slowly and gradually when I start practicing Krishna consciousness, when I have the will to practice Krishna consciousness, slowly and gradually, I will rise to the platform of being Brahmana. Okay.
Mataji, but I have one confusion that, but then Krishna also says, Arjuna, that you don't go to a forest, or then he wanted to beg, like means he want to earn means his livelihood by begging and doing Brahmanical things. So he said, rather than you follow your Kshatriya duty, you follow for a Kshatriya duty rather than thinking of means sacrificing all this and earning livelihood by begging, like that. So,
Yeah, so
and also,
Varna ashram system, what Krishna is saying is gradually it will elevate you to the Krishna conscious platform. Slowly and gradually, even if he's doing his prescribed duty, like for example, a mother or a father, they are doing their prescribed duties. That mother is taking care of the child, teaching the child, cooking in the house. Father is going out and earning gradually. And slowly, he is actually, following that. Gradually, they will be elevated to the Krishna conscious platform or to the Brahmanical platform. If you are doing your own duties properly or your prescribed duties properly, you will gradually elevate yourself. Okay. Something more to that?
yes, Mataji, means there is also one shloka that Krishna says, destruction in following your own duty imperfectly is better than following others' duty. So I am little bit confused in this 2-3 shloka that how means if I'm born in a with a Shudra quality, then should I act according to my modes and then gradually elevate myself, or try to do like Brahmanical activities and then training, as you said, so and then elevate myself. So how does it go?
Okay. Let us give you a scenario. Okay. That scenario of the Shudra quality is that, for example, my qualities of a Shudra, and I'm inclined more, with mera gun jo hai, wo Shudra ka hai, right? And I land up somehow there in the temple. So what will I think? Oh, let me clean the temple, right? My first inclination will be, oh, everything is so dirty away, let me clean it. But what am I doing? I am cleaning the temple according to my own guna and swabhava. I am cleaning the temple. Will I not be gradually elevated because I am cleaning the bedroom of the Supreme Lord, right? So with that also I'm getting purified. Whether I am in my own, varna and ashram, and still I'm getting purified. And slowly I'm getting elevated also. Or for example, I am a Kshatriya mentality and I go out and I'm distributing books. Gradually I'll be elevated. But if I have a Kshatriya quality and I'm trying to do a Shudra work, like for example, my inert nature is to go out on the field and fight or distribute books or preach or do some collection. But I will say that, let me, do some cleaning work. So I will do that cleaning work, but I will not do it with a wholeheartedness, because that is not there in my gunas. Or if the temple authority has told me, please come for cleaning, so I will come out of respect, genuine respect, but I'm not going to do that wholeheartedly. And still I will be benefited also. ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे benefit नहीं मिलेगा, because I'm following the authority, I'll be benefited. But because I'm naturally inclined to go out on the field and fight or do book distribution, my heart will not be very happy. So that is why when Varna Ashram is saying that Shudras will gradually elevate themselves, Kshatriyas will gradually elevate themselves, Brahmanas also will elevate themselves to Vaishnava qualities. So this Varna Ashram system that is there, even when Krishna is saying that you do your own swadharma, you follow your own prescribed duty that has been given to us, and staying in that particular ashram, you will be more happy than, rather than doing somebody else's work. So sometimes somebody might try, doing a particular work, or somebody might try doing something and he might, fail. So it is better that Krishna is saying that you better do your own prescribed duty. You better do your own, gradually you purify yourself rather than taking a big leap to a Brahmana quality or to a, Vaishya quality. So, when Krishna is saying this in the 3rd chapter, that not to imitate somebody else's duty, it is very dangerous to give up one's own duty and follow somebody else's path. So Krishna is not saying in that way, that because when you say that somebody following somebody else's duty, it is creates the option to reject his own duty. And if he proves uncomfortable, and then eventually he'll fall down from that platform of accepting and then rejecting in terms of sense gratification. So when I say that accepting another's duty will cause social disruption, so prescribed duties are given for one particular person's purification, and also it has to have a stable society of different different integrated parts. So if one is deciding to change his activities, then those who are dependent on him for certain needs, will be let down. So for example, previously we had these cobblers and goldsmith, and we had these people who are doing the work of Shudra. Now for example, a cobbler thinks that no, I will do the work of a Brahmana. Then those who are dependent on me as a goldsmith for making gold items and all, and so then where will we go for making our gold jewelry? So that is why accepting another's duty is not easy as one thinks, because somebody's conditioned tendencies are running very much deeper than what he's realizing also. And giving up one's natural work is also very difficult. So when I told that, engaging in, my unnatural work, so I'll be dissatisfied. And because I'll be dissatisfied, I'll fall down from even that Shudra position down and doing. So we have two kind of duties. One is the spiritual duty and one is the material duty. Okay. So both these, have to be done following the orders of the Supreme Lord or the spiritual master. So there has to be an authorized direction of these two duties. So a Brahmana cannot actually, behave, behave a violent person. A Kshatriya cannot become a non-violent. So when can we transcend, this level of this prescribed duties materially? Then everyone has to cleanse his heart by gradual process and not abruptly give up these, duties. One can, and when one, when transcends the modes and he is fully situated in the Krishna conscious, then he can perform anything, whatever is given under any direction. So if somebody is transcended the modes, then even a Brahmana can do the work of a Shudra of cleaning. Like, for example, I go in the temple on Tuesdays and I am sweeping also the floor of the Supreme Lord, where in the altar, and I am cleaning also the vessels, and I am dressing also the Lord. I am doing everything on that platform. Because of course, I'm not saying that I have transcended the modes, but because we are situated into Krishna consciousness and we are working under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. So with that direction will come the power also to do that particular activity in a proper mood and consciousness also. Because if I'm on a material platform, then I just do my normal duties as they are prescribed, okay, according. But at the same time, if on a spiritual platform, if I am doing my prescribed duties, so then I will do it with more sense of Krishna consciousness. So that is why these two duties should not be mixed. One is your material duty and one is your spiritual duty. But if I'm living in this world and if I am actually Krishna conscious, okay, and I am under an authorized direction of the Supreme Lord, then whatever action, even if my guna is Shudra, but if my spiritual master has given me the work of a Brahmana, then I will diligently follow it because it is under a superior direction, right? So for that person has to be in Krishna consciousness. That is the main underlying line. If he's not in Krishna consciousness and if he's a Shudra and if he tries to do that work of a Brahmana or a Kshatriya, he will eventually fall down. He will not be happy at all. So we should not mix material and spiritual things together. Here you are asking me a question basically purely on a material conception. But because we are into Krishna consciousness, then we have to see from both the aspects also. We have to see from a Krishna conscious point of view also, and we have to see from a material point of view also. Your question was mixing two things, so you are asking only from a Krishna conscious point, from a material point of view. That okay, if I'm a Shudra, but if I will do work from a, a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, then, I'm confused about, no, but we over here are seeing on the platform of Krishna consciousness that if I am a Shudra, I'm inclined, but if I'm working under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, then even if I'm doing the work of a Brahmana, I'm not affected. I'll be more happy for doing the work of a Brahmana. Okay. Anything more to that? More clarification you need for that? You can ask.
No, Mataji, I understood. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody else has any questions, queries, doubts? Okay. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you. We'll meet on next Saturday.
Hare Krishna. Mataji. Dhanyavad pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Dhanyavad pranam. Hare Krishna.